obviously I watched Muhammad Ali, and he was into that, but his rhymes made sense. His rhymes were true.
And so my friend here doesn't speak English very well, and is just a journalist from Switzerland, and asked if I could ask you 5 questions for her.
Sure.
Question number 1: is boxing a sport of bad boys?
Boxing's a sport where you separate the boys from the men. I mean, the men from the boys.
Does it matter if they're bad or good?
I think to be a boxer, you'd have to have a little bit of bad in you.
Okay. Number 2: many boxers had a difficult childhood. Do you think this is what drew them to boxing?
Yes. Yes. Boxing came out of hard times, poor, not having no money, one parent, those type of things. People that get into crime, but that boxing kind of is a sport that kind of can center you and project all that badness into one.
Given that, is there a sense in which it can be exploitative?
Yeah, of course. We're exploited, and it's shown through history all the time. When it comes to being paid, people just using us. We're, because we make so much money, we're that type of being. We attract those type of people.
What can boxers do to insulate themselves from that kind of exploitation?
Well, I would say that's something for Hublot and the WBC to look into.
Okay.
Because we're starting this boxing fund, and I think that's a great question to ask the president's son over there. There he is.
I'm sorry for getting off track. The last thing. As a retired boxer, what are you doing now? What are you doing?
I'm an entrepreneur, sometimes reality TV star, sometimes in the movies, whether it's being part owner of Marley Coffee, different business aspects, being a family man, and open to much more.
Do you miss fighting?
I fight all the time, man. I fight all the time, whether it's over a parking space, over a TV station, you know what I mean?
And last is just a question about your relationship to aging.
Aging?
Mm-hmm.
I know Father Time is always going like this on my back. Get off my back, Father Time. So I try and stay ahead of the game.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Lennox, you spent a few years being a ringside commentator for HBO, Boxing After Dark. You got to see a first-hand basis of kind of today's crop of young fighters. What are your thoughts on today's, boxing, the current crop of fighters today?
A lot of fighters right now, they're not really sacrificing as much as they should. I see them in the ring getting tired. Some of them are even putting on tattoos and saying they're bad, but to me, the badness is training. You need to put the time into training. In order to be great, you have to spend a lot of time training and in camp and, living up to your responsibilities as a champion. If you want to be a champion, you got to walk around like a champion and do things that champions do. And I think maybe that's a lot of things that they're lacking, but there are some shining stars out there that walking proud and doing the right thing. So, I'm proud of them.
If you could pick a handful of fighters who you feel might be able to help carry the sport, what names stand out to you?
Oh, that's obvious. All the top names, guys that are out there that are getting a lot of press that little kids look up to, and that can help just that a little bit.
Lennox.
Could you come with me, please? It's my turn.
Can I do one question real fast?
Yeah.
In your career, you seem to be underappreciated while you fought, but now when people look back from a historical perspective, it seems like you get more respect. Do you feel that too, that your career is more more positively?
I always tell people I'm like fine wine, get better with time.
Sir, can you tell us what it's like to be here with 11 other legendary fighters, to be a part of this event, It's sort of unprecedented, isn't it, to have all of these names together in one?
Yeah, but I haven't seen anybody yet. Where is everybody? Why am I the only one here?
Over there.
Over there.
Oh, he is? Where is he?
So this pension fund, it's obviously, it's going towards fighters, ex-fighters who have fallen on hard times. What, if any, hard times have you personally fallen on to, whether it's financially or health-related or injuries?
Well, it's interesting, because a reporter just spoke to me and said, well, what do you do about these people that come around and they really just seize the moment and try and take advantage of you and exploit you? And I was saying that, that's a good question, because this same fund can actually probably do something about that as well, because there's a lot of young fighters and even old fighters that get into the business. They're great talent, but they know nothing about the bookwork, know nothing about lawyers, know nothing about accountants, know nothing about how to wealth manage. So this is something that they should definitely look into in this fund. But I'm very happy that Hublot and WBC actually got together to start something like that, because being a fighter myself, I've seen different boxers they just box because they're just trying to make money and they don't know anything else to do. So by having this fund here for them, at least there's help out there to support them in need.
Do you know personally friends of yours or fellow boxers that have filed for bankruptcy or had some significant health issues that would directly benefit from this fund?
Absolutely. I mean, even when it came to this guy who was a fighter, he was a sparring partner as well, but he got a detached retina, in a sparring match, and then all of a sudden that kind of messed him up, and he couldn't work, and then what happens to him? So, I think back at that type of thing. I think back at a lot of fighters that we know that don't have money now, and this fund is set out for them 10 years down the line when we look up and say, boy, it was a good aspect to start this fund, and I'm going to look at and say to myself, I'm glad I was part of it.
So what would you say to the folks out there, though, that are saying, they make hundreds of thousands of dollars per fight, if not millions? What would you say to those folks about, the importance of this fund?
I would say that support the fund. I think it's important that there's other sports out there that has funds like this, and they're not as